Hello and welcome to the Justin Hamilton podcast. On today's episode, the TV guru, Steve Molk, is pulling double time this week. We are discussing the new Steven Spielberg movie, Disclosure Day. And the first section of the podcast will be a very broad discussion of the movie. So if you want to get a feel for it, if you want to get a taste of it, without having any of the story spoilt, you can listen to the first part. We make it very clear when we're going to head into spoilers, and then the last two-thirds is us really digging into what happens, the themes, and what we think is the ultimate message from this film. So that is all coming up. Before we do, a quick reminder for all my Brisbane friends. I am performing at Good Chat Comedy on the 18th of June. And it's a 7 o'clock show, and I'd love to see you there. You can find tickets at Good Chat and their website. I'll also put it up on my Facebook page, and I'll also put up something at Instagram and my Patreon site. So whichever suits you, there's plenty of ways to be able to purchase tickets. If you head to the Patreon page, and I'll make it open so you don't have to sign up to get your hands on it, but I'll put a link that will get you some cheaper tickets as well. I know times are tough, so if you head to patreon.com/Justin Hamilton, on the front page you'll find a link that will save you a bit of coin, and you can come and see me live. And if you do come along, please hang around and say hello afterwards. It's always good to touch base with people, and I'm looking forward to getting back to Brisbane, and in particular the lads who run Good Chat Comedy. Okay, I will pop by at the end of this podcast, but for now we've got a big chat coming, and a lot of thoughts on the new Steven Spielberg film, Disclosure Day. I don't know what's going on with my lighting situation, Molk. It feels like you're coming from somewhere where a normal person would live, and mine's coming from somewhere secret, because I feel like the government's about to get me. But there you have it. Guess what? I'm not. It's amazing that I know how to record. I'm not a lighting guy either. So anyone watching this on YouTube, I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best.
You know what's coming, mate, in line with this great film that we're about to talk about, is that we'll just be able to communicate. Like, the podcast will cease to be, the whole video podcast genre will end because, and that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah, exactly. That's all we'll need. It'll be telepathy and far out.
A live telepathic broadcast.
Yeah, and that'll be something that I can't wait for all the problems that causes. And
Jesus.
Yeah, at least my mouth can cover up my random thoughts that I don't want to share with the world.
And then you accidentally leave it on when you're having an intimate moment, and everybody, anyway.
Yeah. Good luck to them. Suddenly I'm in OnlyFans. It's just me jerking off into different types of fans. Anyway, this is not exactly where this was intended to go. We saw Disclosure Day last night. Yes. We are going to talk without spoilers to begin with. So if anyone wants to get a gist for the film, they can listen to the first part, and then we'll give them a definitive moment where we will jump into really digging into what we saw last night. But let's just start with the overall vibe. Where were you at going into the film, and where did you land at the end of the film?
I had tried my best, as is my current vibe, to kind of stay out of, not actively avoid, but just kind of stay out of trailers. Look, the key things were there: Spielberg and aliens. So I knew that there was going to be some fun stuff. I was definitely going to be into it. So I was keen. I just didn't want to get, again, not that I expected this to spoil it, but you know how some trailers will, give you bits from the third act that we don't need in a trailer. I've subsequently read that Spielberg specifically said that there's nothing from the third act to go in any of the trailers. So great news. I was keen, hotly anticipating it, a little bit bubbly excited, to the point where I mentioned to you that some of the motif that we saw in just the title card that was sitting there when we were waiting for the film to start revealed a thing in the film that I hadn't even connected that, and I wonder how it connects it. And then it just in the film kind of really neatly just ties it in and off we go. So
Yes.
I came away feeling really like solid three-course meal satisfied, but I hadn't overeaten.
Mm.
Like it felt good in my body. I sat through the credits very happily, just
Mm.
kind of pondering how it all kind of, sort of sat with me.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I'm talking about, I've spoken to my lovely wife and said, let's go this weekend. Like, I
Yeah.
know you will love this film. Let's go see it again. Well, for
Yeah.
me, but yeah, let's go see it.
Yeah, it and I mean this in the best possible way. It feels like Spielberg at his age is
Mm,
going back into his bag of tricks and just kind of showing the big directors, the small directors, the older directors, and the
yeah.
newer directors. Hey, I'm Steven Spielberg and I still know how to do this. And I've pretty much
Yes.
had a huge influence on all of you. Not, and it's not in a bravado way, but it's just a little
Mm,
reminder, hey, I can do this and I can do this well. The fact that, I've gone back over the Spielberg alien based films
yes.
recently and they're they're strange, and I mean that as a real compliment. Like, Close Encounters is, for a blockbuster, an incredibly strange movie that has an ending that is just kind of like a soft jazz, opportunity between
Yeah.
aliens and humans, where none of that communication is actually explained. You just kind of see it happening and you just accept, oh, this is how they communicate and this is how it's gone down. We have no idea what they've said or anything.
Yeah.
And and all of his films are usually about, Close Encounters and ET is him going through his feelings of his parents' divorce. War of the Worlds is very much a movie in a post September 11
Yeah.
climate. This is a film that is, I think, you can't be cynical watching this
Mm,
film. If you're going to be cynical, you're just not going to enjoy it. You're going to push up against some of the classic Spielberg sentimentality.
yeah.
But I think there is a message in this film that, while it's an incredible adventure and a really well told yarn, it, when it's boiled down, is, let's not be afraid of the other.
Yeah.
And when we communicate with that we don't understand, uh, things ultimately get better. And
Yeah.
and I think, maybe it is a little bit old fashioned, and maybe that sense of sentimentality will not find an audience that is profoundly more cynical than it's ever been. But
Mm,
I do, in many ways, think that this is a movie that we kind of need right now, because there's
yeah.
not a lot of, you know, even some of the big blockbusters coming out later this year. Like, I love the first two Dune movies.
Mm,
But kind of what they're interrogating is the hero motif, and the how we shouldn't be won over by someone because of who they, because of prophecy and what we believe that they represent.
yeah.
It's like, I love that. I think that makes for an interesting movie, but there is an intellectual cynicism towards it, whereas this
Mm,
is quite positive, and it's really sat with me since we saw it last night.
mm. I agree wholeheartedly, and I think that just to pick up on the cynicism view, if you
Mm,
come in and are cynical about the premise,
mm.
like cool, like do your thing, you are going to tap out real early.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah,
like this will be 2.5 hours of not your film.
yes,
And that's fine, cool.
yeah,
The thing that it reinforced for me is that like Spielberg's a generous director and a
yes,
generous storyteller and allows A lot of stuff to stay on the page and on the screen so that we can just appreciate it. He doesn't like spoon feed
Mm,
anyone.
mm,
And like in lesser hands, as an example, and this is no spoiler, the whole movie would open with a big establishing this is how we got to where we are, or this is the thing, and you need to know this stuff. Whereas the whole film takes place over 2 days,
mm,
and we're dropped right in the middle of
mm.
things going on, and it kind of barrels along neatly with some wonderful narrative tools to help us learn the background, fill in the gaps if you didn't know, what they were.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, you go, oh no, I know some of these people, or I've been in that kind of feeling where obviously I don't know, I'm not going to disclose that aliens exist or whatever.
Mm,
But I've been in situations with people like this where they've had a truth to tell, or a deeply affecting story that they want to share.
mm.
And it's taken some effort and some energy. And while they might not have had the government on their tail, they've absolutely had to get to a point where this is all I have, and
Yeah.
this is what I need to share with you, and it's great.
Yeah, it's a pretty propulsive film, and
Yep.
I love that uh, the way that it starts, which is, and we discussed this last night.
Mm.
It's like we don't need the first chapter. We can just get right into it, and you understand the stakes extremely quickly,
Yes.
and the detail is meted out through all the quieter moments between the action. And I think John Williams. You were saying beforehand that he is
Mm.
what, 94 now,
Yeah.
and this is his 30th Spielberg movie, not his
Yep.
30th film, literally 30th Spielberg film. His music is just on point for what you
Yeah.
want from a
Never
Spielberg
better.
film.
Yeah.
The cinematography by Janusz Kaminski is beautiful. It's interesting. It feels a little bit more aesthetically closer to Minority Report than it
Mm.
does Close Encounters.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little bit Munich as well. But there's something interesting there where you get the lens flare a
Mm.
couple of times, and it's like, oh yeah, so many people have copied that, right, J.J. Abrams? Like,
Yeah. Right.
it's that's fine, but oh yeah, this is where it all originated. So
Mm.
it's like he's playing the hits, but it's not necessarily he's not necessarily calling on his experience in the exact movies that you would think he would be,
Mm.
and he's created a rollicking story and presents it in a way that belies a man of his age and what you'd expect from the energy levels. Like it's a cracking film. I just had such a good time seeing it.
Yep. Oh, and in so many things all at once. Um, to quickly hit the Williams Spielberg relationship, it is John Williams's 30th Spielberg
Mm,
soundtrack, like you mentioned,
mm,
and that's phenomenal for a man of his age that he came back to scoring. He was just going to do concert stuff,
yeah.
and now he's just said, "No, films, I'm back there. That's good.
Mm,
Thank you." But that's like Spielberg's 30th film with him. He's had
mm,
other people score films. So Spielberg is no slacker in the same way.
mm,
And as a director, like you think about your toolkit, right? Some directors will say, here, I've got these three or four things that I can do really well, and they've become my, kind of hallmarks of the stuff that I do. I think if Spielberg was to lay out his full toolkit, it runs down the table and falls off the end.
yeah.
And as much as him citing his influences, which have of course shaped him as he has shaped others, there's a whole lot in that toolkit that is just him.
Mm,
And we see, I'm going to say, I think almost the best parts of some of those tools laid out in Disclosure Day, even down to, as you mentioned with Kaminsky, there's an aesthetic to the shading and the color that in a lot of it is subtle, but it sets it in a darker kind of moment, or keeps it in that place where it's like only on reflection, I think you go, why did I feel like I had to lean in so much to even
mm,
sections where they're not saying things? It's because it
mm,
felt like it was deeper and I had to be in the moment with them just because of how the visuals were presented. Yeah, it's so good. 2.5 hours of like I didn't care what the time was.
Yeah, yeah,
Great.
and interestingly, couldn't quite. I think the screenplay by David Koepp is keeps you pretty wrong-footed
Mm,
in really good ways. It kind of takes enough twists and turns that take you by surprise, and also once again never forgets within. A chase espionage alien movie. There's a real sense of um, deep emotion
yeah.
and how your life experiences can lead you to a certain point and make the right decisions. And I think the acting across the board is pretty fantastic. I know some people were thinking that Josh O'Connor wasn't a blockbuster leading man, but that is kind of missing the point of what
Mm.
Spielberg can often do. Like, yes, he's had a Harrison Ford, yes, he's had a Tom Cruise, but he's also had a Richard Dreyfuss.
A
He's
Tom
had a
Hanks.
yeah, a Henry Thomas.
Yeah.
He's had people be uh like very normal at the center of these big ideas. And I think Josh O'Connor brings a soulfulness to the performance that I think really grounds some of
Mm.
the outlandish things that are happening around him.
And consistent with the stuff that we've been banging on about, just about our television choices this
Mm,
year,
yeah.
the human choices that the characters make,
Yes.
that come from, of course, the writing, that they also bleed into the way that actors portray that in their choices.
Yeah.
Like again, spoiling nothing, O'Connor makes, as Kellner, makes some choices that are like, you don't do that, mate. Like
Mm,
in a proper, dare I say it, Tom Cruise-esque blockbuster,
mm,
all of the choices you make are right because they get you through or in or out of a scenario.
mm,
And there were a couple times when, don't do that. You
mm,
don't do that. That's of course that's going to happen if that's what you do. That, you idiot.
mm,
And we benefit from where that takes us and what that looks like. We can get spoilery about that later. He gets to be, as a character, someone that plays against the blockbuster hero type because that is not his character, that
mm,
is not his place. And
mm,
even Emily Blunt, who I think does a great job
mm,
in weaving in and out of whatever it is that's going on for her character, um, just like switches gear in that character's context so delightfully, and rightly so impacting for the people, the characters that her character interacts with, just leaves you going, how is that a thing? I need to know
mm,
what's going on. Again, we're not spoon-fed stuff. You just get
mm.
to, you either take it or you don't. And if you buy into this film is going to just turn your mind the right way around in the best way.
Yeah, I think Emily Blunt does an incredible job of. She ends up in a lot of situations where she is reading people
Mm,
and hearing where they're from. It's a funny thing to say about a film, but there are lots of quiet moments where you can feel the characters hearing what's happening. Eve Hewson is also
yep.
as the girlfriend. She has some pretty powerful quiet moments,
Mm,
and you really believe them as a couple, and you believe them as
yeah.
people that would believe in each other. And also, he gets not quite as much to do, but Wyatt Russell does a really good
Mm,
job as Emily Blunt's partner as well.
yep.
And once again, I think he's a pretty good actor. I think he's a little bit underrated, and I think he's maybe one big role away from
Yeah.
proper stardom. I hope he gets it because I've liked him in a lot of things that I've seen him in. So
Mm.
having those two characters, once again, really well written, well produced, and they keep the story in a place that, okay, now I can accept the fantastic that's going on all around them.
Yeah. And look, I bought into White Russell's performance because he didn't overplay it. He wasn't like, I'm a great guy or I'm a super
Mm,
dick or any of those sorts of things. He delivered a really human performance in his relationship with Emily Blunt that
mm,
had us go, yeah, of course that's going to happen. Or,
mm,
well, maybe that's not the choice I'd make, buddy.
mm,
It's Emily Blunt after all.
mm.
At the same time, Josh O'Connor and Eve, their relationship, like they're both lovely people and they dress up very nicely. They look very beautiful people. They are not beautiful people in this film. Like
Mm.
they're doing okay. They're like you and me, Hammer, right? They're six, 7 or 8 on a good day. But that's because the point isn't that they're there to be stunning. And Emily Blunt is because she's on TV, right? She
Mm,
has to be the pretty one,
mm.
whereas the others are absolutely worthy of their roles and fit into the Hollywood, beauty machine, but they're not there to be stunning beauty. They're
Yeah,
there to just be good actors and they do a bloody great job of it.
yeah. Just to go back a bit, I'd be rapt to get to a 7 or 8, but I reckon it would. I'd be exhausted. I'm happy for a
It's a
6
lot
at
of
this
work.
point.
Yeah. This
But
doesn't just happen, mate.
mate, it's so much work. But yeah, O'Connor is. You might know him. Same with Houston
Mm,
as well. Like she is someone that you might know, and
yeah.
that's what keeps those characters relatable when
Mm,
big things are happening around them. Look, I we're going to do like a proper dig into it now,
yep.
but if for the people listening or watching who just wanted to get a taste for it, I think it's worthwhile seeing on the big screen and go in. If you want to have the best opportunity to enjoy it,
Yep.
leave whatever cynicism you have at home and just let it wash over you. And I think you'll come away with something that is deceptively uplifting.
Yeah, yeah. And top tip, bladder management is key.
Oh,
Absolutely go to the bathroom beforehand.
yeah.
And don't take a big gulp in. Don't drink the biggest drink you got because at
Yeah.
2.5 hours, it'll be getting you there.
Well, it's funny as well because there is something a little bit once again, I mean this as a compliment. There is something
Mm,
offbeat about the way the story is told
mm,
that you kind of when the movie ended, I was a little bit surprised.
yeah.
Like I honestly felt like it could have gone another 15 minutes, but where they chose to finish it is
Oh, we'll lean into the whole third act because
yeah,
there's a lot happening
yeah.
there.
All right. So for those of you who don't want anything spoiled, we bid you fond adieu, and we will welcome you back. Hopefully, you'll
Once you've
come
seen
back
it.
to hear this, yeah, once you have experienced it yourself. So let's get right into it.
Yep.
We've already discussed like at the very start of the film, we
Hmm.
are literally dropped in the middle of Daniel Kellner, who's Josh O'Connor's character, being hunted by an organization known as Wardex, which is kind of like a Men in Black organization. And it's headed by Noah Scanlon, who is played deliciously off
Mm,
brand by Colin Firth. You know what? There's something to be said about charming men playing terrible people because they
yes.
are so good.
He
Um,
Mr. Darcy the shit out of this.
yeah, he is. He's pretty fantastic in
Yeah,
this
he
film.
is.
Even the way he holds himself physically,
Mm,
he's he's quite hunched, and
mm,
it's like he is he in classic bad guy storytelling, he thinks he's doing the right thing. He thinks he is the hero of the story,
mm.
and uh, that burden is portrayed in the physical way he holds himself because he's a
Yep.
man of secrets and he's a man of decisions, and
Yes.
it's a wonderful performance. But uh, Noah's team has Daniel's girlfriend, which is Jane, and
Mm,
they're trying to do an exchange where Daniel can give them something that he's stolen, and he can get his girlfriend back. And it's on.
yeah.
It's almost like if this was a TV series, this is the second episode.
Yeah. right? You because we need that establishing stuff to get us
Yeah.
to, well, why is he at the wrestling? What's
Yeah.
going on here?
Yeah.
And we land of all of the places for Spielberg to open this film, it's at a fucking wrestling match,
Like it's so
and
funny. Like and it's so
so good.
and it's discombobulating as well that you're
We
like,
get a first person view from one of the wrestlers.
yeah,
We see
get
him
it.
get absolutely poleaxed.
Yeah, getting stomped on. It's almost like
Yeah,
he's okay. I'm going to pummel you, the audience, the way this wrestler is being pummeled in the ring.
we're preparing you, really, isn't it? This is you
Yeah,
getting beaten down, ready to feel
yeah,
where Daniel is, where
yeah,
Kellner is, because he is out of his depth.
yeah. It's
People
great.
with guns, and he is not a person with guns.
No, no. And we learned very quickly after they make their getaway that they have this device that has to be held with a while wearing a glove, and
Mm.
it's an alien artifact that allows you to uh, kind of project yourself into other people.
Do heaps of different things. I
Yeah,
counted there were 3 or 4 different things that thing did,
yeah,
and the color of the device when it was happening reflected whatever the thing was.
yeah,
But it ostensibly they're all untrained hands, but in the wrong untrained hands, mate, you're in a bad way. You're in a bad
yeah.
way if you grab that too hard.
Yeah, doesn't someone pick it up at one point and then just teleport?
Yep. Vanishes. I thought they went to Ash, but then they
Yes.
appeared like literally 4 seconds later
Yeah.
in another part of the same room.
Yeah, I thought exactly the same thing. I was like, holy shit, he's just incinerated himself.
Yeah,
And
right?
then I was like, oh
Cooked.
no, here he is. He's back.
And the best part is everyone else in the room just went, okay, he's back, great.
Yeah.
No conversation about where he went.
No.
No, is he okay?
Yeah.
Like they've obviously gone, oh, we have learnt, the government have
Mm.
learnt that if you do this wrong, that's the kind of shit that can happen.
Mm.
We don't know where he went.
Yeah. He might have been gone for years.
Across the fucking universe, mate. We
Who
don't know
knows?
what happened.
It's so good. We discover quickly that Daniel has been working with a team of Wardex defectors led by Hugo Wakefield, who was
Mm.
Coleman Domingo, and they want to release information to the world, including footage of alien encounters and brutal interrogations. And it's they're just kind of waiting for a sign to initiate the final stage of their plan. Very good work with, trying to get information across,
Yep.
having Jane not know what's been going on. Our hero's been hiding it from her
Yes.
because he's, that's actually been his job. He's not meant to be sharing it, and we learn through her eyes. She becomes our proxy to discover what's going on, and we're very much in a world where after you've talked on your phone, you got to smash it. And I'll be honest with you, I never get sick of this stuff. I love it.
Yep.
I even now I would like to make a phone call and then smash my phone if I could afford to just
Yes.
buy a new phone.
Oh, and even down to the glorious, it's a jump forward, we'll come back to it, but even down to the glorious moment where we've got Margaret, Emily Blunt's character, getting told she has to smash her phone.
It's so
So
funny.
she drops it out out of the car onto the ground in a car
Yeah.
park. They're not going very fast, and tells Wyatt Russell, her boyfriend, Jackson, to run over it, and he misses it like twice. She has
Yeah.
to get out, put it under the front wheel for
Yeah.
him to drive over it. Then she gets out and still stomps on it and kicks it away.
There's, Spielberg never forgets to be entertaining. It's like even there's a scene with the two of them having an argument about, well, not an argument, but suddenly having to escape a hospital, and there's an old lady just watching the whole exchange in the
Yep.
background. That is some classic, goofy Spielberg sense of humor that he never forgets to put into his films. But
And the counterpoint of where that relationship's at, just at that point, the reason that she's in hospital, and that Margaret turns to Jackson and just goes, "You are joking." Like she's reading his mind, and it's like that's not happening.
yeah,
But yeah, so good.
yeah, we never found out what she's a bit disgusted with, but it's bad enough.
Something, even if it was just them two, right?
Well, even his reaction is enough to go, oh yeah, I don't think you've done anything terrible, but you've done something pretty manky, you dirty
He was
dog.
coy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
right
yeah.
amount.
Yeah. So, well, let's jump to, since we're talking about it, let's jump to the character of Margaret Fairchild, played by Emily
Mm,
Blunt, who's a Kansas City meteorologist who begins to experience the world in new and fantastic ways, including at one point she just starts talking Russian to
yep.
her to her partner Jackson, and when she gets pulled over by a cop for speeding, she is able to see into him and and
Mm,
empathize with him because he's made a mistake with his wife, and she not only can see that and intuit it, but she can
mm.
also help him find a way to make things better when he goes home. And it's
Yeah.
such a stunning piece of minutia for that character to hear that he just kind of lets her go. And that seems to be the effect that she has on everyone. She finds something every time she talks to someone, she finds something so deep in their soul that when
Mm,
she shares it and then shares the way through it, people are disarmed and find a calmness to their
mm.
lives that they don't push back against, which I found to be a fascinating choice as to what that effect is. And it kind of is almost a statement on the majority of people in the world, when they act like assholes, it's because they're lashing out in pain rather than being particularly nasty people.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a familial calmness that comes from it where she is speaking directly into a situation
Mm,
in a shorthand that only someone that was intimate to that otherwise would know.
mm,
And that's gonna be disarming,
mm,
and I think that they played it exactly right, as you said. No one gets aggro about it.
mm,
It's just I'm hearing 17 layers of course I should fucking do that, or I hadn't connected those dots, or I needed to hear that reassurance. And kind of that, because that is so overwhelming to them in whatever their situation is, it disarms and diffuses any conflict or confrontation that would be occurring, that allows Margaret to continue on her way. And it's clearly not manufactured. Margaret hasn't done research. She's not trying to
mm,
pretend like she's, calling on spirits or doing anything like that. It is just she has a knowingness. She talks about it later. When I see someone, when I
mm,
look into their eyes, I drop into their life
mm.
and I know them.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself is an incredible reflection of this gift that then Margaret has to carry. But it was a light switch. It
Mm,
just turned on for her.
mm,
So that in itself speaks to this incredible disconnectedness. Why does Margaret have this gift? What is going on? Where
mm.
did it come from?
Yeah.
And why now? And I think that's the best part,
Mm.
that we get to journey through that process of, yeah, why now?
Yeah. Well, it also speaks to the optimism of the storytelling. And
Hmm?
within this isn't about information. There's plenty of information out there, and we see information being disseminated at any given points uh, regularly in this film, but it's about truth. And
Yeah.
Spielberg is speaking to the sense that the truth will set you free.
Hmm.
And it's interesting because in this we have once again, the character of Noah is wanting to control it because he thinks people can't cope. He thinks people
Mm.
it will tear down society, and it's interesting. We see people push back against that. We also see that Jane at one point was going to be a nun. And
Mm.
she speaks to the woman who I guess would have been her mother superior if she'd followed through with that.
Yes.
And as a man of faith, how did you feel about the depiction of that conversation in the story?
Yeah, I found it really authentic.
Yeah.
It is a fair question because we're talking about the existence of aliens.
Mm,
Um, Jane, as a former nun, is talking to her. Look, I'm going to say probably former Mother Superior,
mm,
certainly close friend in Sister Mora.
yeah.
Just quickly, played by Elizabeth Marvel, who is one of the voices that I heard and went, because she's in the full habit situation, there's no hair, it's just face and glasses.
Mm.
Went, oh, I know you, and I know that voice. Turns out I know her because she was like the senior, like the executive level lawyer in House of Cards. She was the president in Homeland.
Mm.
She's been in a butt ton of films, so she's
Yeah.
super familiar to me, and I loved that.
Yeah.
Same with Coleman Domingo,
Oh,
Hugo,
yeah.
the opposite guy to
Yeah.
Colin Firth's character. It was his voice that got me. I just went, oh, I know that voice because I just finished watching 5 seasons of Euphoria, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
plays Rue's sponsor
Mm.
in her going through her AA, NA stuff. And he has a really critical role in the last episode, but all the way through it, he's been the voice of reason and the voice of conversation and the challenge and question in a real gentle way.
Mm.
And that's what Coleman brought to Hugo, was this just gentle strength that meant they had to push on. So that was phenomenal. But yeah, the faith question meant that Eve got to question, and her concern
Mm.
when she was talking to Sister Mora was everyone everyone will lose their faith. Like if
Yeah.
this comes out that there are aliens, that there are other powers in the universe, then all of a sudden our world gets really small really quick, and we will lose the whole understanding that we can have faith in something bigger than us, because now there's other people that are smarter or faster or have tech that whatever. And there's a direct conversation that then Sister Sarah says, Sister Mora says, when we talk about Genesis and that, she said, but, God created blah, blah, blah. She said, on earth,
Mm.
this notion that God created an infinitesimally huge universe
Mm.
and only put intelligent life on earth has to be antithetical. There's
Mm.
no way that a God would just go, and now this little ball in all of these other places, this is the only place I'm going to exist. When what, the faith teaches us, God is omnipresent. God has always been there. And God is engaged in every part of everyone's lives.
Mm.
So then why would this omnipresent, omniscient God only be just here?
Mm.
Brilliant. It doesn't discount anybody. It
Yeah.
doesn't talk down to anybody, and allows people that lean into a faith. Well, I know the world, the earth is the center of the universe. I mean, cool, you can keep that if you want, friends. But for those that people of faith that go, but there could be, or we
Mm.
can't the brilliant thing is, if you think that the earth is one of God's many creations, then all of a sudden God is about all of us. And that doesn't just mean all of the people on this little blue ball. God is
Mm.
about the universe that God created. And that's amazing to
Mm.
just existentially have a crisis of faith that resolves itself in the same sentence.
Yeah, the movie. That's what I mean. I feel like the script is pretty deft in touching on a lot of different aspects of everyday life that, especially Noah and his team are. Weirdly, they don't have faith in it, and
Mm.
they don't have faith in everyone else's abilities to take on information and have their lives broadened for it. But and
74 years, mate. It's been a secret for 74 years, and it's got to stay that way because the population will not handle it.
yes,
That's Noah and Wardex's situation.
yeah, yeah, and it's and then once again, it is it speaks to a world that we have at the moment where billionaires and elites do feel like they get to make the decisions for everyone, and they
Mm.
do get to uh, mold the world in the ways they think it should move forward. And once again, this is the uh, enduring optimism of Spielberg, that he believes
Mm.
in normal people and common people, and that they can, when presented with something that's quite amazing, that will lift them up rather than send them sideways. So some of the chase scenes are quite phenomenal.
Yes.
The Daniel coming back and realizing that Jane is surrounded, and he has to sneak into the uh, sneak into a car, which he also nearly fucks up, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
manages to pick her up, and then through and ingenuity between the two of them managed to uh, shake off these, you know, offshoot government men in
Mm.
black types. It's all done in a way that is, once again, you haven't elevated him to Tom Cruise level. He is still
Mm.
not sure what he's doing, and the two of them have to come up with a plan together that gets him out of any trouble. And
Yeah.
I like
He
that there's
sneaks like
a
an elephant, right? Like he's not
yeah.
super good. He's not a
No,
spy.
no, he's got no idea what he's doing. But there's an equality between the two characters because of it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and it means that then when he gets in the car in that first instance, like that was
Mm,
one of the things I thought was a really fallible human choice. Turn the fucking car around and drive the other way. Right? If you draw them away, then you could double back or she could escape. No, no. He wants to drive up to the house to get her because they've parked a bit away, thinking
mm,
that they're both inside. And he manages to jag the car, a very powerful Dodge Charger, into a tree, backs it back into another tree.
yeah.
These fake cops start unloading, bullets into the into the vehicle.
Mm,
And as he's approaching the building, you think he'll park outside. And no, drives into the house. It's an old
mm,
farmhouse. Tells her to get in, and they drive through the house the other way to get out again. Like it's just this
yeah.
glorious set piece that is we're intimate, but it's big. We get to see the big moment where it flies out of the house, but we're also in the house as it's coming towards us. It's
Yeah.
so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah. Emily Blunt's character, Margaret, is just kind of welling up with information as well. Like
Mm,
she's very much like Dreyfus in Close Encounters when he just knows he needs to go to Devil's Tower. She knows where
yes.
she needs to go, even though she doesn't really understand why. And there's when the two of them finally team up together.
Mm,
Um, in a lesser film, there would have been some sort of physical, like there would have been a kiss or something like that.
no. Yeah, yeah.
There's none of that stuff. These two find each other. They realize that they're attached because they've both been experimented on at some point, and
Mm.
they've been given a gift that realistically doesn't really become complete until they're together.
And so consequently, it never needed to be a romantic thing. Like
Mm,
it just was a factual joining together of uh, whether you want to call it victims or souls or friends they didn't realize that they had,
mm,
even down to as Margaret sort of was eyeballing people. By the time she got together with Kellner,
mm.
apart from saying his name out loud a few times and having Jackson get all pissed off thinking that she's
Yeah,
cheating on him,
yeah.
um,
Well, in
that
his defense,
oh, it would have
like
felt like it for
his
sure.
girlfriend just started talking Russian. She's been speaking in an alien dialect that no one can
Yep,
understand except for
fainted after it.
yeah. But
So it would be a stressful time. I'll give
yeah,
him that
yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Um, but when they come together, it then becomes this Ricky, she's already worked out I can't look if I don't look at people in the eyes,
Mm,
I won't get it's not distracted, but I won't fall into them,
mm,
which clearly is carrying a load for her.
mm,
But she's also aware that I've got to stay aware of where I am or what I'm going because I need to. The next thing is I need to know where we need to drive, and I
mm,
can't tell you where. I just know that I need to turn here or I don't need to turn here.
mm,
And her rescue of Kellner is glorious for that in the
mm.
similar kind of way because she just uses this thing to tell them the thing to find oh, they're expecting me and walks right into the lion's mouth,
Yeah,
right into it,
yeah,
and basically says he's coming with me.
yeah. And it's great. And it's I think sometimes in any kind of movie where someone exhibits superhuman powers, often people don't really follow through how they work properly, and they often end up in, you know, fighting. You know,
Mm,
it's but this is you know, they have a keen understanding of what she's doing and how she's using it and how she can uh, just be able to walk into these situations and take complete control of it. Let's
Yep.
there's
I
look
just want to quickly note, sorry, Hamo,
no,
the
go.
part of the joy of why this film ticks along so neatly and that we can have a set piece and then another moment where seemingly it slows down, but it helps us learn more about a character or progress the narrative or do what it needs to do,
Mm,
is because it's set over 2 days. And
mm,
they generously, but not obviously, remind us that a couple of times through the film, but not in a way that's Netflixy, if that makes sense. We're not
mm.
having to bang home every 8 minutes, this is what it's about, this is what it's
Yeah, yeah,
about.
yeah.
It's just like we see one night,
Mm,
and there is clearly passages of time where they drive that we don't need to see them driving for, 6 hours or 3 hours or whatever.
mm,
But it's also so pacey that
mm,
2.5 hours becomes, we've got to hear, here's the thing. It almost feels real time-ish
mm,
because it is so much happening at once, and none of the things that we learn or the stuff that the characters develop and learn and tell us, show us,
mm.
nothing happens at a rate that is unbelievable.
No, no, it makes sense. Like
Yeah,
there's, it might get a little fuzzy, but for the most part, it's emotionally correct in the way it gets us from point A to point B to point C, etc. When let's just get to the ending where
yes.
they manage to uh, Margaret goes live on TV, addresses Kansas, and then they're able to spread that throughout the states, which would then, of course, spread throughout
Hit
the
the
world.
world. Yeah.
Um, she reveals the truth, and then they have uploaded all of these files, etc., of things that have gone down, things that we've seen. So much more exciting than what the American government is showing us in the real world. Like
Right.
if like, there's so many reasons to dislike the Trump administration, but on a purely entertainment level, all these UFO videos and the way they've come out have been lackluster and really disappointing. So seeing Spielberg show you, no, this is how it could have looked. And it looks so much better. All
Ships
of it.
coming out of the clouds with footage from like F-18 fighters flying towards them
Yeah,
and
yeah.
having to just move at the last minute before that thing just pissed off.
Yeah, and
Far
different
out.
shapes and the way they
Yep.
form. We see exactly how humans would probably treat aliens if they did find them, where they're torturing them and doing all sorts of stuff. We finally meet one at
Mm,
the end who is in some ways a callback to the
mm,
aliens that we saw in Close Encounters,
yep.
and it's interesting. The last word that is spoken in the film is "listen."
Mm,
I mean, we've got to, and because that's it's time for us to listen to what's been really going on. It's time to listen to what the aliens have to say to us because they are,
mm.
from what we see, they're coming with much more positive messages than we have for ourselves, and all we have to do is listen. But it also feels like Spielberg giving us, as a cinema viewer, a command, which is go out there and listen to
Yeah.
everybody, because if we listen and we understand, there is a real possibility that we can fix a lot of the problems in the world. And I thought it was a pretty great final moment. How did you feel
Yeah.
about that whole ending?
Oh, it totally caught me off guard.
Yeah.
I agree. It ends super abruptly after Margaret sits down and starts talking to the camera again, and
Mm,
we just get listen. And immediately prior to that, the aging alien
mm,
speaks to both her and Daniel,
mm,
and clearly has a message for them.
mm,
And Margaret the camera follows her, but there was a
mm.
message for both of them,
Yeah.
and that Margaret has to go and start delivering or deliver the message to the rest of the world. I particularly enjoyed that bubbling along in the background in that third act, especially, was the acknowledgement that war is about to start with North Korea. Like it
Yes.
is just the world is going to fucking end.
Yeah.
Um, And that's what everyone is anticipating, especially the frothing news people who are like, "Oh yeah, here's our moment in the sun."
Mm.
And that then when that footage is starting to break in, like the director has ultimately the new sense of the balls that this is the NBC, I think, affiliate in like the main one in New York that the affiliate calls, "Hey, we're here, check out this feed."
Yeah.
That he just goes, "Oh no, we're taking on this. This is a new story. We are definitely going with this." Knowing
Yes.
that he has the biggest story in history about to go to air
Yeah.
or currently bubbling along, and he has to tell his anchor, "No, no, let's do this. Go with this." And then it's a part of it is the humanity, and cynics and critics would say, "Oh, but he would never really give a clean feed of all of the government alien footage to the other networks."
Mm.
And I think, see, I don't know. I think this is part of what Spielberg is challenging us
Yeah.
in the same way that Noah was challenged. If we trust humanity,
Mm.
then when we're actually going to listen to each other or be a part of this bigger than us moment together, it's not about whose fucking logo is on the screen.
Mm.
It's about, here is the stuff that is going to change all of our lives
Mm.
and all of our understanding. So to have that happen, I thought was this a bit kumbaya, sure, but I think that fits with Spielberg's run in
Mm.
what he's trying to get to. But it allows it all to happen that then when it ends, it's like I'm leaning in, I'm ready to hear, what do you want to tell me?
Mm.
What are we going to get to? And then listen, end.
Yeah. It's kind of like in some ways it feels like the uh optimistic version of the ending of Watchmen, which
Mm,
was the alien invasion is a thing that's concocted by humans to bring the world together through fear, the fear of
yeah,
something else. This is the opposite. The aliens come through, they have a message, and it's like it does end in a way that you can kind of make up your own mind. But I think the general gist and the forward propulsion that Spielberg is telling you that it feels like it's a good message and that
mm,
the world is going to be in a better place. Also reminded me a little bit of and I mean this is a real compliment of the film Arrival,
hmm
where that's a world that's on the brink for numerous reasons, and
yeah.
through the power of communication, uh, the world can move forward. So.
Yeah.
Uh, I just thought it was great. I just
I
had a really good time.
I was really overwhelmed and it made complete sense, right? But I was really overwhelmed that as the story is then moving throughout the world and being broadcast everywhere and everything was happening,
Mm,
everyone that could be near a screen, and for a lot of the extras at that point, they're all staring at phones,
mm,
but all staring at the same thing, right?
yeah.
They're all going, it would be transfixing. The
Mm,
revelation that here's some footage from 60 years ago of aliens landing on the planet or doing
mm,
whatever or interactions with or that sort of stuff. And I'm sure they saw some of the horrible stuff as well.
mm,
Um, that it's that hopeful metaphor
mm,
because the world had stopped. It was like this great emotional reset. Sure, I'm sure some people then took the advantage and went, let's go and, get that television that we've always wanted because no one's going to stop me now.
yeah, yeah.
But we didn't lean into, and then great rioting broke out, or somebody
Mm,
turned over cars and burnt shit. It was no, no. All we got to see was the very, very beginning of people taking in this new information, this new understanding that where they might have thought they were 17 feet tall and the kings of the universe,
mm,
they're no longer alone. They are
mm,
not the only thing that their God might consider to be important, that it was something bigger than all of us. So that
mm,
ultimately brought all of us together in hope.
mm,
And even down to that final moment, that final word, listen is a hopeful word
mm.
because it's not delivered in a listen. I'm going
Yeah,
to give you some truth here. It is
yeah,
listen.
yeah, yeah,
This is what we need to hear. And, oh, yeah, come on.
yeah. It's an invitation to communicate, and I don't know. Like I guess once again you can call it hokey, you can call it
Mm,
sentimental, you can call it old fashioned, but I I think we kind of need a little bit more of this stuff. And
There's nothing wrong with all of those things. If all of the films were like that, yes, that would be a problem. To
yeah,
have a moment like this where, Disclosure Days, you might walk away and feel, oh, it's a little bit sentiment. Good,
yeah. Well,
good.
it almost feels in many ways subversive to make a blockbuster that is uh,
Not cynical. Is
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
and unafraid
yeah.
to lean into that thought process as well. So, look, it's just really great. It's Spielberg showing that at his advanced age, he hasn't lost his fastball. He can do these kinds of films if
Yeah,
he
come on.
wants to. Everyone's in top form, and yeah,
Yes.
I kind of can't wait to sort of see what the reaction is. I've kind of kept away from any reactions at the
Mm.
moment. I've kind of, because I knew we were going to be recording, so I've wanted to be as unfiltered as possible through other people's thoughts, etc. But yeah, I'm going to be really fascinated to see how this film goes down.
Oh, I agree. And there's probably two or three critics that I'm really just keen to hear their take on it. And
Mm,
I will measure it, and whether they like it or hate it or whatever, I'm still going to go, they will
mm,
explain themselves if that makes sense. That's
mm,
why I like enjoying them and appreciating it. I'm absolutely going to keep chewing over this. Like I
mm,
am, and then especially once I see it again,
mm.
it's I think going to bring up or identify some more parts that I maybe
Yeah,
um, sped through or was overwhelmed by something else at the time. I knew that was coming, so I could appreciate this other thing.
yeah,
Um, I think it speaks to us at a perfect time, like you said at the top, Hamo, where the opportunity for us to engage in less othering of people
mm,
and more being open to others.
mm,
If you follow my language use there,
mm,
it's about how can we together be a part of this rather than you can sit over there and
mm,
have your views about things or not like that group of people or do whatever. We are going to be so much better when we just say, "Hey guys, I want to learn from you. I want to be in this
mm.
with you together."
Yeah. Yeah, it's a yeah. I think this is going to be an outlier in the blockbuster season, but
Mm,
in a good way. And you once again, it was good to see you know the first blockbuster master come and reclaim a little bit of his ground, and it'll be interesting to see what some of the directors that he's influenced, who have a lot of movies coming out this year, what that response through the art that they've
yeah.
created will be. So,
I I really enjoyed. I think you mentioned it before the movie, Hamo, that Steven Spielberg was on the Rewatchables podcast
mm,
talking about Kubrick's 2001: A Space
mm,
Odyssey,
yeah,
and I just devoured the episode on my train and drive home
mm,
afterwards, and it was joyous to
mm,
honestly hear Spielberg talk about his love for this film,
mm,
some of the things that he learnt from Stanley Kubrick as a director and why he loves his things, and to hear where he sees it fit all the nuances he drew it from in how it connects to some of his work.
mm,
To hear the rewatchables guys, they talked about that as a great example. AI and
mm,
2001 are almost symbiotically paired films. The way
mm,
that they communicate to each other,
mm,
and there is a in no way, it's great. It's not a gratuitous plug. They mention Disclosure Day and
mm,
talk about. So, they said, well, yeah, this has got bones built into all of this,
mm,
um, and it's this really generous kind of conversation from a bloke. That was his second podcast, and that is in itself great.
mm,
Um, this director of our generation talking about his influences, talking with joy and gratitude and respect to the things that he has learnt.
mm.
And we, as an audience, not only have benefited from them through his entire career, it dovetails so neatly into Disclosure Day where you can go, oh no, I can see all of these things that you love and the stuff that you've learnt and appreciated, how they have seeded or just punched me in the face
Mm,
in Disclosure Day and how we just get to be gloriously overwhelmed by it.
Yeah, yeah, he's not just producing a film; he's having a conversation with cinema while he
Yeah,
is making his movie, and it's not just his legacy, but it's other people's legacies as well. So
yeah,
great!
super good.
Thanks for pulling double time this week, Molk. I appreciate that.
Anytime.
Where can people find you?
TVBlackbox.com.au is where I write about things and I get to gloriously rant about them more often than not on my Blue Sky, which is Molk, and Steve Molk on what is it? Instagram things.
Yeah, great. All right, mate. Thank you very much for that. Thank you to Steve for joining me and discussing not only this film, but his excellent work on the Tuesday podcast, where we discussed all things television. Next week, Tegan Higginbotham is back, and we will be catching up with where she's at, and we'll be discussing the world of comedy. And yeah, there's been some things happening recently, so there's plenty to discuss, but that will be next week. As I said earlier, if you are in Brisbane and you are free on the 18th of June, I'm performing at Good Chat Comedy. Tickets can be bought through the Good Chat Comedy website, but as I said before, if you go to patreon.com/Justin Hamilton, you will find on the page open to everyone a special link that will get you slightly cheaper tickets. So if you would like to come along and save some money, that will be the place to go, I reckon. What else can I tell you? Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter. The next edition is coming out on Tuesday morning. It's a fortnightly newsletter. Basically, in it, I'll give you recommendations of movies and TVs and books and all sorts of things. I'll give you a bit of a review of things that have been going on. And basically, the newsletter is an opportunity for me to have direct contact with you and you with me. So what I'm trying to do is beat this algorithm. The algorithm is set up to work against everybody. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but you open up Instagram, I see more about people advertising than I do the people that I actually follow. So if you would like to have a direct contact with me, the newsletter is the best way to sign up. It'll come out fortnightly. And if you head to justinhamilton.com.au, it's all on the front page. You'll get a confirmation email. You might have to check your spam because it might go there. But once you move that to your inbox and sign up, you'll only hear from me fortnightly, and you'll get cheaper ticket deals for any shows that I produce, and ticket deals to other shows as well. I've had some other people promoting through me, and updates on things to check out. It's a distillation of what I do here on this podcast. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. There's so much going on at the moment, so let's try and keep it nice and simple. If you go and see Disclosure Day, please let me know what you thought. I hope you enjoy it as much as Molk and I did. And yes, I hope you have an interesting, fun, relaxing weekend ahead of you. You know what? Go to the movies. Do yourself a favor. Treat yourself. Go and see Steven Spielberg's movie. You'll be surprised. The old man's still got it. So it makes me very happy to live in a world where Spielberg is just still a master of his craft. All right. As always, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Until then.